Sadashiva-Samarambham Shankaracharya-Madhyamam Asmadacharya-Paryantam Vande Guru-Paramparam. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitastatu Ma Vidvijavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat, Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Tat Sat, Om Namah Shivaya.
So we will go to the next verse, which is verse number 66. So please unmute yourself and we can chant.
Okay, I'll have to go. First class.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha
Shri Bhagavanuvacha
Asti buddhirayuktasya Nachayuktasya bhavana Nacha bhavayata shanti Ashantasya kuthas sukham Okay. So first we look at the grammar as usual. Na asti buddhihi ayuktasya. So that is the breakup of the first word. Na asti buddhihi ayuktasya. Na cha ayuktasya bhavana. Na cha abhavayatah shantihi. Ashantasya kutaha sukham. So na asti buddhihi ayuktasya. Na cha ayuktasya bhavana. Na cha abhavayatah shantihi. Ashantasya kutha sukham. And we can write the anvaya as ayuktasya buddhihi na asti, comma. Cha ayuktasya bhavana na bhavanaha. You can add asti. Cha na abhavayatah shantihi, full stop. Ashantasya kutaha sukham. So ayuktasya, for the person who is got no discipline, buddhihi na asti, there is no knowledge. And ayuktasya na bhavana, for the person who is not disciplined, there is no bhavana. Here means concentration. So there is no meditation also. There is no concentration. And abhavayataha, for the one who does not contemplate, concentrate, na shantihi, there is no peace. Ashantasya kutaha sukham. For this person, how can there be any happiness, any contentment? So that is what Krishna is saying. So for the one who is not focused, for the one who is not tranquil, there is no knowledge. For the one who is not disciplined, there is no meditation or contemplation. For the one who is not contemplative, there is no peace. And for the one who has no peace, how can there be any happiness? So Krishna is highlighting two disciplines over here, two sadhana, which we have seen in Tattvabodha also, samaha and damaha. And he points out that these two disciplines are important at every stage of our spiritual sadhana. For Shravanam, we require samaha and damaha. For Mananam, which is reflecting on what I have learned during Shravanam, I require samaha and damaha. And later on, after Mananam, after Shravanam and Mananam, What do? I do nididhyasanam. For that also, I require shamaha and damaha. So without shamaha, mind control, without damaha, sense control, spiritual progress is not possible. And therefore, a person who has sensory control and mind control. So you can understand that a person who has mind control automatically has sensory control, because the mind is what controls the sense organs. And once you have shamaha, damaha is taken for granted. But yet, Krishna is giving both the names, shamaha and damaha. So a person who has sensory control and mind control, he is called a yukta purusha. Yuktaha means a person with shamaha and damaha. And therefore, ayuktaha means a person without these two disciplines. So he says ayuktasya, for the person who does not have shama and dama, buddhihina asti. There can be no knowledge, no intellect possible. Shravanam and Maranam are not possible because his mind is not available. And to put it in the language of this chapter itself, prajna is not possible. That knowledge which gives you moksha, prajna, that's not possible. So buddhihi nasti means prajna nasti. And therefore he says, ayuktasya buddhihi nasti. For this person, knowledge, that is Shravanam and Maranam, is not possible. And further, ayuktasya bhavana api nasti. So without the sense and mind control, bhavana here means contemplation, nididhyasanam, which we otherwise call Vedantic meditation. So without this shama and dama, Vedantic meditation, nididhyasanam, is also not possible. And when we come to the 6th chapter of the Gita, you will see that the entire 6th chapter deals with this bhavana, with nididhyasanam only. And if a person cannot practice Shravanam and Maranam and nididhyasanam, what would be the consequence? Abhavayataha, shantihi nasti. For a person who does not practice these three, shanti nasti, peace of mind is never possible. There can never be jivan mukti. Right. So from here we have to understand that the study of the Bhagavad Gita is not for academic purposes. A Gita study cannot be discourse or pravachana, because here teaching is involved, concentration is involved, right? The teacher has to be aware of all that he has taught, all that he is going to teach, and at every movement of the teaching, he has to make the student aware of the linkages between what has been taught and what is being taught. So there is always a connection between each class and the previous one and the next one. The whole purpose of this teaching is not to get a BS or a BA degree in Gita. It's not an academic degree at all. The purpose is to transform me, to transform the way I look at life, transform the way I view the world and the way I look at myself. And that transformation brings about this peace of mind. The benefits are totally practical. And therefore he says, shantihi nasti. For such a person, peace of mind will not be there. And without peace of mind, ashantasya kutaha sukham. Because without peace of mind, where is Atmananda? Because Atmananda can reflect only in a peaceful mind. So he's saying that this Atma Jnanam, which also is Atma Ananda only, which is your own nature, right? Satchit Ananda. That own nature of yours can be experienced. The peace of the nature, the sukham of that nature, the ananda of that nature, which we call Atma Ananda, that can be experienced only when your mind is peaceful. Just like if you want to see your reflection in a lake, the lake surface has to be without ripples. It has to be calm. Similarly, Atma Ananda can be reflected only in a mind without the ripples of thought. And if the mind is going to be disturbed, then Krishna is saying, Ashantasya kutasakam. Where is the question of Atma Ananda for a mind which is not peaceful? But like we have peaceful mind occasionally through other methods also. I went to the ashram. It was so wonderful. I can feel the vibrations. The place is so calm and quiet, and you enjoyed peace of mind. What happens when you come away from the ashram and you're back in the city with all your troubles? That peace of mind is gone. So you enjoyed peace of mind. It was a past tense, and that's why Krishna says ashantasya kutasukam. So this kutaha is not a question. Where is the peace is not a question. It's a statement. He's saying for that person who has no peace of mind, there is not going to be Atmananda at all. He cannot have moksha. Because moksha means understanding my true nature. Understanding my true nature means assimilating the knowledge. Assimilating the knowledge means sitting in class, doing shravanam and maranam and nididhyasanam. Without a quiet mind, none of these are possible. Okay. So from these verses, from this particular verse, the idea of the teaching is from each verse, you have to extract the essence. Something has to be taken away from each class. And there is a very important idea over here. So what is this? What is my role? What do I mean when I say I? Supposing I have two chairs in my house. There is a samsara chair and there is a Jivan Mukta chair. Right? As a seeker, as a grahastha, as a husband, as a wife, as a son, as a daughter, as a father, as a mother, you're all sitting on which chair? Samsara chair or Jivan Mukta chair?
Samsara.
Samsara. And the only time when you sit on the Jivan Mukta chair is on Sunday morning from 8 to 9. On the Vedanta class, that is where you're sitting on the Jivan Mukta chair. Right? So remember that our normal state is that we are sitting on the samsari chair, and Sunday mornings for 1 hour in a week, we are in the Jivan Mukta chair. And Krishna is saying that this has to be reversed. You should be sitting permanently on the Jivan Mukta chair. Whenever a transaction is called for, whenever you have to, put on your respective role of father, mother, daughter, husband, wife, neighbor, at that point of time, you get up from the Jivan Mukta chair and you go to the Samsara chair. Sit there, finish your transactions, get up from that chair, come back to your Jivan Mukta chair. Instead of permanently sitting in the Samsara chair and coming to Jivan Mukta chair on Sundays, learn to permanently sit on the Jivan Mukta chair and go to Samsara chair only when you have to do something in this world. When you have to fulfill the requirements of a role, that time you go to Samsara chair. Okay, so that is what is being taught over here. Now, there can be a question, right? So in our teaching, especially in the traditional teaching, the way that the teaching is done is that you present the possible objections first. Before you present your view, you present all possible objections. That's called Purva Pakshi. You present all the possible objections. Then you do Khandanam, that is, you refute all those objections. Once objections are refuted, then you present your view. So Siddhanti is our view. So first Purva Pakshi, then Siddhanti. So if you will ever look at Gita Press's Shankara Bhashyam or any of the Upanishad Bhashyam, you will find that initially in the Bhashyam, there will be a question. There will be some doubts raised. So those are Purva Pakshi doubts. So in this case, also we can have a doubt. How can we say that only Atma can give Ananda? As a Purva Pakshi, I will say this. If you are teaching me, I will say you are saying only Atma Ananda will be possible. Only Atma can give Ananda. But that is against my pratyaksham, right? The whatever I see through my eyes, whatever interactions I have, I see that a lot of people get a lot of pleasure from objects which are in the world, which is anatma. In fact, everybody derives a lot of pleasure from running after sensory objects. So you have food to eat, you have liquor to drink, you have people of the opposite sex, you have holidays, everything is what? Anatma only. So running after sensory objects is all that I see. I don't see people getting pleasure out of Atma. I see people getting pleasure out of Anatma. So this is the Purva Pakshi objection. how can you say that only Atma can give Ananda? I accept that Atma may be giving Ananda, but my pratyaksha pramanam, my experience tells me that people get a lot of pleasure from Anatma also. So Shankara says that kind of pleasure which is got from objects, Vishayas. So Vishaya Ananda. He says Vishaya Ananda cannot be classified as real Ananda. It's a very interesting and very important clarification that he gives. Shankara says you can have two types of Ananda. You can have one is the original Ananda, which is Atma Ananda. And you can have one is Ananda due to objects of the world. Like you eat ice cream, you get Ananda. You go see a movie, you get Ananda. You go on a holiday, you get Ananda. So he classifies all this as object Ananda, Vishaya Ananda. And he says Vishaya Ananda should not be classified as true Ananda. Why? Vishaya Ananda is Pratibimba Ananda. What is Pratibimbam?
Reflection.
A reflection.
Reflection. So Vishaya Ananda, he says, is reflected Ananda. Now, if the Vishaya Ananda is reflected Ananda, what should be the next question?
What is the real one?
reflection of
Original.
What is the original is fine.
Original.
Original
What
is
is
fine.
it
Original
must be
is
there?
Atma Ananda.
What is it reflecting?
What is
Yeah.
the reflecting medium? Right? Because any reflection has to have three things: the original, the reflecting medium, and the reflection. So original Ananda here is, we are saying it is what you call, they call it Bimbananda, or you can also call it the Atmananda or the Brahmananda. There are different names. This is the original Ananda. Okay. And this Vishayananda, says Shankara, is Pratibimba Ananda. It is reflected Ananda. So what is the reflecting medium should be a question. Right? Automatic question. There is an OC, there is a RC. So where is the RM? What is the RM? What is the RM? Shankara says there are three types of vrittis, three types of thoughts: Priya, Moda, and Pramoda. Have you heard these three words before?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. In that Bodha.
What do they represent?
Types of happiness.
Thinking of possession.
Degrees of happiness.
They are degrees of happiness.
Degree.
Degrees of happiness. So let me just refresh our memories. Priya is the happiness you get when you see an object which you desire. A kamya vastu, when you see, that is Priya. Okay. You have seen an object and you have a certain degree of seen an object which you like the object. So that pleasure which you derive from seeing that object is called Priya. When you when that object becomes yours, for example, you like, let us say, strawberry ice cream very much, which I like. Okay, so strawberry ice cream example is what I am taking. I see the strawberry ice cream in the shop, in the ice cream parlor. So when I look at this light, pinkish color sitting in the window, the happiness which I get is Priyananda. What is this Priyananda? Priya is a thought that I am seeing this strawberry ice cream. And since I'm seeing the strawberry ice cream and that is something which I like, that thought, the Priya Vritti, is reflecting the Bimba Ananda, is reflecting the Atma Ananda. That reflection is Priya Ananda. So therefore it is Pratibimba Ananda only. It's a reflection only because the original Atma Ananda is being reflected in that Priya Vritti, in the vritti of mind which is formed by looking at that strawberry ice cream cup in the window of the shop. A thought is formed. That is the ice cream which I like. In that thought, Atma Ananda is reflected. That reflected Pratibimba Ananda is called Priya Ananda. So that is Vishaya Ananda only, because it is a Vishaya is the ice cream, the vritti, the reflecting medium, is the thought. Now I go to the shop and I buy that ice cream. I purchase the ice cream. So now that object which I desired has become mine. I have possessed it. And therefore, the Ananda which I have now from that I am in possession of this ice cream thought is little more than the Ananda which I have from I like this ice cream thought. So the I like this ice cream thought is Priya Ananda. I have the ice cream thought is called Moda Ananda. And that reflection there is Moda Ananda, which is more than Priya Ananda. So you have Priya Ananda first, the Ananda coming out of seeing the thought, seeing the object of desire. Moda is Ananda coming out of possessing the object of desire. And then finally I sit down in the shop and I eat that ice cream. That is called Pramoda. Prakashena Moda, specific case of possession, which is having possessed it, I have now eaten it, I have enjoyed it. That is called Pramodananda. So the three thoughts are Priyavritti, Modavritti, Pramodavritti. In these three vrittis, the reflections are Pratibimba Ananda only. So Shankara says, this is not true Ananda because it is Pratibimba only. The true Ananda is what? Not Pratibimba Ananda, it is Bimba Ananda. It is the original Atma Ananda. But that Atmananda being of the nature of your own self, to experience that, you've got to have the vritti. So Pratibimba Ananda can be experienced. Bimba Ananda cannot be experienced. And therefore, this Vishayananda which we experience, that is not true Ananda. Okay. All right. One more, Shankara says is one more very important part. One, of course, is that it is the RC, therefore it cannot be the OC. That is a very clear and logical statement. The other RC, other statement which he makes, that every Vishaya Ananda, which is every Pratibimba Ananda, it has got the threefold potential for sorrow. What are they? Dukkha, Mishri,
Tapatrayam.
acquiring,
Tapatrayam.
Maintaining and losing.
yes. So
Dukkha,
Tapatrayam or Dukkha Mishri Tattva. There is an effort involved in acquisition, there is an effort involved in maintenance, and there is an effort involved in loss. And therefore, every Vishayananda has the potential for pain or sorrow, while Atmananda does not have. Remember that your hunger for sense pleasures is present. When that Trishna, when the longing for eating the ice cream is present, it's not possible to really enjoy the ice cream because you are busy planning on how to make the ice cream last for a long time or what to do when the ice cream is completely over. So it is not complete enjoyment. You get what I'm saying? Any enjoyment that we have is always, tinged with the possibility that this is going to get over. So that worry is always there. And therefore, Shastra says it is possible to have real enjoyment only when Trishna is not there, only when the longing is not there. Okay. So that's what we have to get from here, that you can enjoy yourself. Anything which you enjoy, even the ice cream if you enjoy, the maximum enjoyment is when it doesn't matter to you whether ice cream is there or not there. If it is there, it's great. You enjoy it. When it gets over, you don't need the ice cream for enjoyment because you've got Atma Ananda anyway. So that is what is being said here.
Yeah, like, can't we just appreciate this ice cream instead of like, I don't know, I don't get it. Like if you just forget it, it's too long. I'll just listen. I'm so sorry. Even my question doesn't make sense. But it's like if you think making ice cream is like art, it's expressing someone's soul desire, and now I want it, I can appreciate it. I don't have to cling to it, right? Why is it so bad?
Well, it's difficult to appreciate an ice cream in the window.
Well, you can be like, well, I can have it another time, or even when you have it, it's like,
No,
I don't know.
that's not what is being said. What is being said is
I
that
know you're
when
saying
it
you
doesn't
long, when
matter
you
to
long
you.
for things, when you long for things, then it's like, then things get messed up and you don't feel that level of bliss that you're supposed to from Ananda. But I just want to like, okay, let it be. I'm sorry. Then I'll go on. I'll just shut up. I'm really
Now the
sorry.
question is, when you say I experience, then you are going into another complete different realm. That you'll see as we progress, that experience is different from the principle. You can never experience something unless there is a reflecting medium. That is the point. The point here being made is that any experience definitely has to have a reflecting medium. Every reflecting medium will have a beginning and an end. So in this case, in the case of the ice cream, the reflecting medium is the thought. The thought will have a beginning, the thought will have an end, and therefore it is not permanent. Every thought is got a beginning and it's got an end. So since the thought is the reflecting medium, anything which has a reflecting medium, every reflecting medium is anatma only. Every reflecting medium will have a beginning, will have an end. Therefore, whatever is reflected can never be permanent. And that is why Atmananda is always there. That is what we look at.
But isn't life then reflecting medium because it has a beginning and end?
Life, when you say life, you mean body. Yes, body is a
Yes, like
reflecting
human
medium.
existence.
It's a reflecting medium for consciousness. All right, so let's look at verse number 67 now. So we will chant. Yes, please. Somebody else is there?
Yes, sir. Sir, how
Yeah,
about the
question.
ananda that we get from Shravanam and Mananam or the Shastra?
That is also very much reflected. It's the reflecting medium is your intellect.
Okay.
All right. So let's chant the 67th verse. Indriyanam hicharatam
Indriyanam charatam
yanmano vidhiyate
yanmano vidhiyate
tadasya harati pragyam
tadasya harati prajñām
vayurnavam ivambhasi.
vayurnavam vivambhasi.
Okay, so we will go back to our grammar portion. So indriyanam hicharatam, then that yat manaha anuvidhiyate. So that breakup has to be properly written down. Yat manaha anuvidhiyate tad asya harati prajñam. Tad asya harati prajñam. Vayuhu navam eva ambhasi. So Vayur navam ivam bhasi. So Vayuhu navam eva ambhasi. Now we rearrange that into what we call Anvaya, sentence formation. So Yat manaha hi charatam indriyanam anuvidhiyate, comma. So yat manaha hi charatam indriyanam anuvidhiyate. So there is a relative pronoun yat, and therefore there has to be a correlative pronoun tat. Yat and tat. So first sentence is yat manaha hi charatam indriyanam anuvidhiyate, comma, tad asya prajñam harati, comma, vayuhu ambhasi navam eva. So what does it mean? Yat manaha, that mind, charatam indriyanam, which because of the roaming of the sense organs. In charatam means roaming, indriyanam sense organs. That mind which because of the roaming sense organs anuvidhiyate, follows after, tat, that, asya prajñam, one's wisdom, harati, takes away one's wisdom. So that mind which follows the roaming senses. Okay, so yat manaha indriyanam charatam anuvidhiyate. Anuvidhiyate means to follow. So the mind follows. What does it follow? It follows indriyanam charatam, the roaming sense organs, it follows. Because of that following, he says, once wisdom is taken away, asya prajnam harati. One's wisdom is robbed. And then he gives an example. Just like Vayuhu ambasihi navam eva harati. You have to supply harati over there. Just like the wind takes away a small boat on the water. Just like the wind takes away that means what? Basically, it means that the boatman has no control over the direction in which the boat is going, because the wind carries away the small boat. The wind is so strong that the boatman and his whatever he's sitting and doing in the waters in the boat has no effect. The wind takes the boat in the direction of the wind. Similarly, the moving sense organs are so powerful that the person's discriminatory knowledge is taken away, and because the mind is following the sense organs only. Okay, so here again we are emphasizing sense control, dhamma. What he's saying is that if sense control is not there, if dhamma is not there, the atma jnanam will not be arising in the mind at all. So indriyanam hi charatam yan manaha anuvidhiyate. Supposing the sense organs are wandering, charatam. Charatam is actually like grazing, like when the cow grazes, it moves all over at random because it moves wherever there is grass. Similarly, suppose the sense organs are wandering all the time. Where do the sense organs wander? In their respective fields. What are the respective fields of sense organs? Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. So I am not going into all this again. I hope everybody is aware. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, all part of Tattva Bodha. Shabda is sound, Sparsha is touch, Rupa is form, Gandha is smell. So, which means that they are wandering in their respective fields. The eyes will wander in the fields of sight. The ears will wander in the field of sound, of hearing, and so on. And because he says wander, he is implying that they are wandering without the control of my willpower. And that is dangerous. And therefore, charatam, they decide to go anywhere. Supposing the sense organs decide to go somewhere. What happens? The sense organs by themselves going anywhere is never a problem. But the problem is because manaha anuvidhiyate. The mind also follows that wandering sense organ. The wandering mind will not allow any knowledge to take place. Even if the knowledge comes, the knowledge will be taken away. So without a focused mind, the seeker, the sadhaka, the Vedantic seeker will not be able to sit in Vedanta class. Why? Because a cat wanders into the class, and then, if you're in the ashram, for example, you're sitting in the class and then one cat wanders or a dog wanders, and the sense organs notice the dog, the eyes notice the dog, and the dog moves out of the class. The eyes follow the dog, and with the eyes, the mind also follows the eyes. And therefore, that mind has wandered away. So in Vedanta class, the wandering mind will not receive the words of the teacher. And if you are sitting in class now, like in online class, in Zoom class, there may be a nice smell coming from the kitchen, from sambar or some dahi vada. That smell has touched your nose, and therefore your mind has wandered behind that smell. The mind is not here at all, and therefore the words of the teacher will not be received. And therefore he says, Tad asya prajnam harati. That wandering mind will ensure that it takes away the knowledge also. Sense organs will take away the knowledge also. It will rob away the atma jnanam, and that is why while receiving knowledge during Shravanam, you may have received knowledge, but it has been received not fully, and therefore it is not available to you during your day-to-day affairs. Receiving the knowledge and the knowledge being available only during class has no meaning. That knowledge which you have received should be available to you to guide you in your day-to-day affairs out of class also. and therefore it is not available. The robber has taken it away. So Krishna gives example. Vayur navam ivambasi. Vayu is the compared to the wayward mind. The wind is being compared to the mind, and navam, the boat, is compared to the knowledge. Because why is the boat compared to the knowledge? Because the knowledge is the boat which takes you across the ocean of samsara. And however well you have planned your journey, if Vayu is powerful, the powerful wind will take the boat off course, preventing it from reaching the destination. So similarly, a mind which is not focused, a wayward mind, will destroy the boat of knowledge. And when the boat of knowledge is destroyed, knowledge itself is not available. And therefore he says, all the sense organs, when they wander, you should be very careful, because if the mind also wanders, then you, the traveler, have lost the purpose. All because lack of mind and sense regulation. And therefore sadhaka should always have, the seeker, Vedantic seeker, should always have Indriya control and Manaha control. Indriya nigraha and Mana nigraha should always be there. Shama, which is Indriya nigraha, which is Dhamma, which is Indriya nigraha, and Shama, which is Mana nigraha. Sense control and mind control are very, very essential for a Vedantic seeker. And therefore, these slokas, if you look at the slokas, they're actually from 58 onwards. There are sadhanas prescribed, which we have done, right? First, there is Indriya Nigraha, the sense control, control of your sense organs. That control of sense organs, it will naturally lead to Mano Nigraha, the control of the mind. And the control of the mind, which is arising because of the control of sense organs, it will naturally lead to Nidhi Dhyasana, Vedantic meditation. This is what has been said. Now from verse number 68, the Upasamhara is being given. Upasamhara is the concluding summary. This chapter is now being concluded, and Krishna starts the concluding summary. So we will chant this. Please unmute yourself. We will chant verse number 68. Tasmadyasya mahabaho
Tasmadasya mahabaho
nigrahitani sarvashah
nigrihitani sarvashah
indriyani indriyarthebhyah
indriyani indriyartha
tasya prajna pratisthita.
tasya prajna pratishtha.
Okay, so we are back to our grammar. So tasmadhyasya, the first word has to be broken into tasmat. There's a halant below ta. So tasmat yasya, yasya mahabaho nigrahitani sarvashah, and that indriyani indriyarthebhyah, that is broken into indriyani indriya arthebhyah, indriyani indriya arthebhyah tasya prajna pratisthita. And anvaya, so sentence formation will be he mahabaho, comma tasmat yasya indriyani indriya arthebhyah sarvashah nigrahitani, comma tasya prajna pratisthita. So he mahabaho, O strong-armed one, or O mighty-armed one, Arjuna, of course. Hey Arjuna, tasmat, therefore, yasya indriyani, for that person whose senses. What has happened to senses? Indriyarthebhyah, from the sense objects, sarvashah nigrihitani, have been completely withdrawn. So tasmat yasya indriyani sarvashaha nigarhitani, that person whose sense organs have been completely withdrawn from indriya arthebhya, from all the sense objects, comma. What happens to that person? Tasya prajna pratisthita. That person's prajna, wisdom, will get established, will become firm. He will assimilate. Okay, so hey Arjuna, the knowledge of that person whose sense organs have been completely withdrawn from the sense object, they become very firm, they become assimilated. So here Krishna is concluding the topic of sthira prajna sadhanani, which he started quite some time back, if you remember, following Arjuna's question. So here it is, the disciplines, the sadhana required to become a sthira prajna, the sadhana required to be a jivan mukta. That is being concluded here, and therefore it says tasmat. And therefore means wherefore, because wherever tasmat, therefore, you must know what it means. What does tasmat mean over here? Therefore. What does this therefore mean? If you've been for, yeah, what does it mean?
Sense organs.
Sorry?
Therefore, the sthita prajna needs to control the sense organs to assimilate the knowledge.
Not really. Therefore means, since sense control plays a very important role in your spiritual growth. Right? Tasmat. Therefore what? What all has been said, that Dhamma is necessary for spiritual growth. Right? Therefore, since sense control plays a very important role in spiritual growth, we should note here that control does not mean suppression. Control means regulated functioning. Okay. So remember that wherever we say this kind of words are used, control, all these words are used, we have to remember that it is not suppression at all. It is in terms of regulated functioning, regulation, channeling of the particular faculty. So, since it plays a very important role, yasya indriyani nigarhitani, therefore the seeker's sense organ should be restrained. So, tasmat has to be taken as the reason for the restraining of the sense organs. You cannot say tasmat means sense organs are being restrained. Tasmat is because of the fact that whatever has been stated points out to the fact that for a Vedantic seeker, Dhammaha, that is sense control, is a must. Therefore, yasya indriyani nigrihitani, the seeker's sense organs must be regulated. Repeatedly, Krishna is reminding us, it is regulation, not suppression. Whenever in Gita or in any Shastram we talk about regulation, we are talking about directed functioning, sense control, mind control. We do not, Vedanta never prescribes suppression or unintelligent expression. What we are saying is an intelligently regulated sense organ. Like stopping the river is dangerous, because if you stop the river, it will break the dam unless you let the dam have outlets and channelize the flow of the river. Right? Two things are there. If you let the river flow in its own direction, nothing will happen, but it's a waste of water, because the river will not be useful for anybody. It will just go into the ocean finally. But if you stop the river by putting a dam across it, by complete barrage across it, you will find that the barrage is broken and a flood comes damaging everybody. Therefore, you should neither stop the river because it is dangerous, and neither let the river flow in its own direction, because it is then useless to you. What do? You build an intelligent barrier called the dam with gates on it, which channelize the water into the direction that I want, in the quantities that I want, at the time that I want. And therefore, similarly, Gita is not talking about suppression or uncontrolled expression of sensory energy. It is saying channelize that energy properly. By this regulation, you will ensure that you will tap your full potential. So Nigrahanam here means channelization, direction, intelligent use of mental energy, making sure that it is not wasted and making sure that it is not suppressed. So either way is, one way it is dangerous for you, one way it is useless for you. Therefore, hey sadhaka, you should seek to master your sense organs. And then what will happen? Tasya prajna pratishtita. Then you can receive the knowledge properly. Not only that, the knowledge will be well assimilated also. Remember that to the extent that all our likes and dislikes, all our raga dveshas, to the extent that they can be put under the control of our buddhi, of our intellect, to that extent alone, knowledge becomes steady. That assimilation of the knowledge of Shravanam and Mananam is possible only when there is no pressure of raga dvesha. The knowledge will never become steady as long as my raga dvesha is not under control, because raga dvesha will permanently exercise a pressure on what to do, how to act, what to think. Only when the raga dvesha has no influence on my life, then only the jnanam is completely assimilated. So when I know that it does not bother me when my raga dvesha is fulfilled or not. Raga dvesha fulfilled, fine, I have enjoyed it. Raga dvesha not fulfilled, it doesn't matter, it doesn't bother me, my mind is not disturbed. Only when that state is there in every experience of my life, only then can nididhyasanam become fruitful, can the knowledge become properly assimilated. So this is what is being said here. That therefore, hey Arjuna, you have to ensure that sense organs are under control. Because only if your sense organs are under control, tasya prajna pratishtita, you can assimilate the knowledge. Without assimilation of the knowledge, where is the question of Jivan Mukta? So with this, we'll stop for today. In case any questions are there, we have a few minutes.
Because I'm sure you.
Arjun.
Oh, sorry, I'm so sorry. So sorry, did I interrupt someone?
Yeah, Tavishi, bolo.
Oh yeah, because I'm sure you must have seen this before, right? This really famous oracle deck. And as you were saying the quotes, right, there's these images made with them and the translation. And it's ironic that I'm relying on senses to understand. But I'm trying to see how this image relates to sense control. Do you think there's a correlation between the imagery they've shown and the quote?
What image?
Like, so this is a really famous wisdom from Bhagavad Geeta, like oracle deck, right? Like you pull one out, a quote that you need to follow that resonates. And I was trying to correlate the stuff you were saying with the images because they have the direct quote at the back and a meaning. And obviously your meaning.
I don't know what image you're talking about. So you'll have to either show the image on the screen or something like that.
Yeah. See, this is sense control. The literal quote you said, right?
She's showing Acharya.
One second,
Yeah, to show it. So I'm trying to figure out.
Hang on. I'm trying to find out where you are. Okay.
I'm here.
Yeah, there you are. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm trying to that's what I've been trying to do, like correlate the images with the quotes at the
No,
back.
that image has got nothing to do with it. That is that gopi image.
Damn, this is really pointless and I'm pissed off. And it's ironic I was relying on an image senses. But
So
yeah.
that's one of the things about a traditional class is that the first thing you do is to erase everything that you know.
I don't know anything to begin with. What do I do?
No, but the point is that most of us, in fact, just not you, okay, everybody in this class, when they came, they had certain conception, preconception. This is how it should be, this is how it is. And as you go through the class, you realize that the preconceptions are not borne out by the teaching.
No,
And
I
therefore-
honestly have none. Trust me. I literally just got this. I was myself trying to figure out.
So
Because I
don't.
don't know. I was like, how does this make sense with sense control? Is it because this guy is lying down on the floor? I don't know. And it's ironic because I am relying on senses to understand meaning, like visual art, right? But now I get
So
it.
my advice is that for the first 1 year of the teaching, you
Yeah.
keep an open mind.
Yes,
And
yes, of course.
secondly, you don't read anything else. Don't read any other text. Don't buy a book.
No,
Don't
no.
listen.
Yes,
Once
yes,
all that is there, it takes about a year's time for you to get the proper frame of mind.
yes.
When the proper frame of mind is there, then you'll find that everything makes sense. Even images outside will make sense.
No, even if I get the proper frame of mind in 10 years, I'll be happy. I can't even imagine in
No,
1
I
year.
can guarantee you in a couple of years. Don't wait for 10 years.
I'll be happy with
Come to
it.
every class. In
Yes,
a
yes.
couple of years, you'll find that your whole approach to life has changed.
Of course. But thank you so much.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, Acharya. On 66th verse,
Yeah.
you gave an example of ice cream. So there is a line, enjoy as long as it lasts, full stop. If we do it like this, कि ठीक है, ice cream we are having, जब तक है enjoy करा, उसके बाद full stop. There's no emotion of losing it and no feeling after that.
Yes. You see, whatever is there, you have to correlate it to the teaching. Okay. Don't correlate it to normal English quotes that people give. What does the teaching say? The teaching says there are two forms of Ananda. One is the Atma Ananda, which is inside you, and one is the reflected Ananda, which is outside you because of an object. The ice cream is the object. And when the object is there, you will experience the Ananda. But when the object is not there, you should be convinced that you are yourself are the Ananda. So you should not miss the object. That's what, in that light, if you examine, you will find that whether object is there or not, there is no problem. You know, I don't know if you have power cuts where you have, but in ashram when you go, you have power cuts. So it's like that. When the electricity is there is no problem. You can enjoy yourself because everything is working. Fans are working, lights are working. When the electricity is not there, the UPS comes on, right? The generator comes on. That is also there. So this generator is your Atma Ananda. It is permanently there as a backup source. So there it is there. Whether it is there or not, whether objects are there or not, should not matter to you. Objects are there. There will be objects to enjoy. You must enjoy. Shastra never stops you from enjoying anything in life. Because there is often interpretation which says that the Vedika, the Vedantic student is like a stone. He doesn't enjoy anything. This is absolutely wrong. The Vedantic enjoys everything because he knows that he will never miss anything when it is gone.
Om Acharya ji,
Yeah.
I have a question here. When we are saying in terms of Atma Ananda, isn't Atma Ananda supposed to be present 24/7? Like you mentioned that, it is the reflective Ananda, the Pratibimb Ananda, which is present in the objects.
Yeah.
But essentially, it is the Atma Ananda only which is there. So
Yes.
why is it that we need to differentiate the Atma Ananda from the Pratibimb Ananda?
Okay, let me take the example of fire. What is the distinguishing feature of fire?
It burns. I mean, it
Heat.
gives different light.
Heat.
Heat, right?
Heat.
So let's forget about the light part of it. Let's look at the heat part of it. The heat is the distinguishing feature of fire. Now, to know the fire as hot, what do you need?
Need a medium.
Your senses.
Medium, this sense touch,
Sense organs.
sense
You
of
need to
touch.
put a finger in it and get burnt, then you will know it's there. But if you just look at the fire, will you know it's hot?
Yes, because your brain can correlate things, right?
No,
Yes.
your brain is correlating an earlier experience.
Yes, but can't you be taught things like you don't have to experience things to know what they do.
Okay, you've
right?
been taught. That means somebody has experienced.
Yes, that's true.
For you, that teaching is in words.
Yes.
When
of
you stand
course.
in front of the fire on a cold day and then your body is reflecting that heat, then it is an experience. So for the experience of the heat of the fire, you need a reflecting medium, which is your body. Without that reflecting medium, the heat of the fire can never be experienced. It is there all the time. But to experience that, you need the reflecting medium, which is your body.
But Acharya ji, sorry,
yeah.
but
Bolo,
here
bolo.
you are comparing fire and this, but then fire in itself, the heat of the fire is separate from the medium. But here, the Anand, how can it be separate from Anand is Anand, right? So how can it be separate from?
It is separate. To experience the heat of the fire, you need a reflecting medium. To
Yes.
experience the ananda, you need a reflecting medium. It is a straight equation. Just like you need a reflecting medium to experience the heat, you also need a reflecting medium to experience the ananda. The heat of the fire is intrinsic to the fire. It is the heat principle. Your consciousness, your ananda which you have, that is the ananda principle. It cannot be experienced without a medium. That medium,
It is.
that
It's
medium.
you, right?
But it just is, right? So, I mean,
So
the
it is,
Anand
but you are not conscious of it until you experience. And therefore, the teaching is that learn to distinguish between the ananda which is being reflected and the ananda that you are. The teaching is just to show you that you are ananda. It is not to make you into ananda, right? The teaching shows you that ananda is an intrinsic part of your nature. Whether the reflecting medium is there or not, you are still an ananda. You will not experience until there is an object.
You
I
first
got
have
it.
to
Right.
experience it, I think,
Okay.
and then
Cool.
a point will.
I think it's a state of just being in that particular state. There is nothing like an experience in that. I mean, it's not like that if I have an object or an ice cream, I'm going to have a separate ananda.
Yes, you will.
You
Because
will.
ananda is being experienced by your mind.
Yes.
What you have to understand is when you use the word I, what are you referring to?
Yeah.
If you are using as an experiencer, you are an experiencer.
Right.
As an
So I'm
experiencer,
talking-
you have a mind.
Right. Sir.
If you have a mind, you are RC, not OC.
My God.
So it is for the RC to understand that he or she is the OC.
Right.
But that OC can never be experienced by anybody excepting the RC. OC can never experience itself. So whenever you say I, you should know I am talking about I the OC or I am talking about I the RC. What Krishna is teaching is that you the RC are actually the OC. But to know that you are the OC, you need the RC.
So basically, as we work on becoming detached from the material world, blah, 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 the goal is to be able to appreciate without being attached in that moment, right?
The goal is being to be appreciated at all times that I am Brahman, I am Atma.
Yes, but as we get to that, right? Like eating
is-
ice cream, appreciate without being attached and being like, okay, if I don't get this ice cream again, I'm okay with it.
That is at a very preliminary level.
Yes, but like to get to that level of actually like it's easy to be aware of these things, right? But to integrate it takes, as you said,
That
years.
is why the teaching is over a period of time. It has to be over 6, 7, 10 years.
So they make this world like this basically because it's just like a game of seeing how detached you can get from all these things.
No, it's
like,
not. It's to know that these things are not different from you. It's a more intrinsic part of it to know that the world is not different from me. And therefore, there is no question of my ever missing the world. Anyway, that's a much later stage. Okay, I put in, when you asked, I said that, but to come
no,
to
I
that,
get what you mean, but it's hard to actually, like you said, experience these things.
you can't experience. There is no experience at all. It can only be known through knowledge.
Yeah, but you can, like, I can hear your words, but I can also resonate with it. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, which I can't. I'm so
Okay, Mandana ji boliye.
Om Acharya ji.
Yeah.
What is Purva Pakshi?
So that will, Purva Pakshi is basically an opponent, the one who is got a viewpoint differing from yours.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, Vasanta ji boliye.
Yeah, this is Vasanta called all.
Vasanta only. Okay, fine. Fine.
Thank you, Acharya ji.
All right, any more? So I try to keep it 1 hour because this is a very heavy subject, and
yeah,
my experience is that anything beyond 1 hour, 1 hour, 10 minutes results in the mind wandering away like the boat with the wind. So 1 hour is about the maximum it can take. And as you can see, we are doing only one verse, 2 verses in a day. And I would request all of you all that it is not a samsari chair that you're sitting in. Move into the Jivan Mukta chair and think about this all the time. Only when you are required to do your duties at home, at that point, you move into your samsaric chair. Then only the thing will assimilate.
Wait, one last question.
Yes,
okay?
Tavish.
Just to put in practice to understand. So for example, if I'm eating ice cream, right? If I think, oh, I am this ice cream as I eat it, will I be less attached to it? I know it sounds stupid, but that's how you train your mind, right?
You can use whatever you want to train your mind.
But does that make sense? Because it's like,
It is. In fact, there's a much later, there is a Upanishad which says, I am the eater and I am the eaten.
so you keep saying that and eventually you'll start to believe.
Not saying that. You have to understand.
No,
You have to understand that.
understand it, but I think you can condition your mind. Like
No, you can't. Supposing you're not a physics student and you say E is equal to MC squared a million times, will you understand? No. Somebody has sit down, explain to you what is E, what is M, what is C.
But the mind is insane. I'm telling you, you give yourself these messages because the meaning you've told me is so deep, right? So now this line is like a
Unless you understand the meaning,
yes,
there's no point. Once the meaning is there, then you can repeat. Then it makes sense. Then it will drive it into the subconscious. Yes.
Of course, all this, I think what you're saying is going into all of our subconscious. All of it, because just the phrases you say, right, they're symbolic, they're not literal words. So I think we're so lucky like that. Okay, I'll shut up because
All right. So with this, we'll stop. Anybody else?
Sir, I had just one question.
Yeah, Kush.
So when it comes to the Atma Ananda and just trying to remember that you're Satchit Ananda Brahman, if all the time we remind it through a reflecting media, which is Easwaran. So rather than saying Brahman, you're saying Shiva, and you're all the time doing japa, Om Namah Shivaya, whenever it's getting, you getting diverted towards the senses, is it okay in the initial stages?
In the beginning, it is fine because that is the way it functions. You have to have a form to meditate upon. You can't come to the formless Ishvara on the very start. So what you're doing is absolutely fine.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Om Raviji.
No, somebody was saying something. Okay, go ahead. Mangala.
Yes. I just had this one question. See, in this process of Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam, what we learned, the silent meditation at Shivananda Ashram, would that really help if we perform that like every twice a day?
Meditation which you do in the ashram is basically concentration meditation. Right? It enables you to concentrate. It enables you to bring your mind to a focus whenever you want it.
Yes.
That is only preliminary. Once you have that and once you have the knowledge, then the concentration which you have acquired through that practice, you have to use that concentration to do Nididhyasana.
Yes, that's what I meant to say. A regular practice would really help in getting entirely absorbing whatever you're saying.
Yeah, help you in sitting in class and keeping your mind here. It's not enough to hear. You have to be here and then here. So that way.
Thank you.
Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you, Ji.
Om Tat Sat.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience. Have a great weekend, guys.
thank you for answering my annoying questions.
Not at all.